guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Christina, aka tu vecina favorita que maquilla, and as y'all can see today, I am rocking my pajong. This is my hair just blown out. So in today's video, I will be talking about being Caribbean. So if you don't already know, my background is Dominican, so I gotta rep for my Caribbean peoples. So if you guys want to see what I have to say about the topic, just keep on watching. Side note, before I get on to the video, if you guys want to see the tutorial for this look, it is using the new ABH Riviera palette. So if you want to see, it is my previous video. So who is considered Caribbean? So of course we automatically think of the islands. We think of, Cuba, Haiti, DR, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, the Bahamas, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, Dominica, Barbados, St. Vincent. We think of all the islands, but we sometimes tend to forget that there are, regions of the countries that are in the mainland of Central and South America that are actually also considered part of the Caribbean. So this includes like the coastline of Honduras, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, the part of Colombia, Venezuela that border the Caribbean Sea. These are also part of the Caribbean. And I know I'm missing a couple countries. I don't know all of them off the top of my head. But the point is, all of these regions are considered the Caribbean. So it's not just the island, but also the communities that are on the coastline of these countries that also border the Caribbean Sea. So when I think of Caribbean culture, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is music. I love the music that has been produced and it comes out of the Caribbean. So starting with, for example, the Spanish-speaking Caribbean countries. We have, for me as a Dominican, we have, merengue, bachata, perico ripiao. Then you have, salsa, son, guaguancó. There's like so many genres of music that came out of Cuba alone. I can't even list them all off the top of my head. And then you have, Haitian compa, I think that's how you say it. Punta from Honduras. You have calypso from Trinidad and Tobago. You have, soca, zouk, reggae, and dancehall, which let me tell you guys, reggae music, dancehall music was such a crucial part of my teenage years. And not just that, but of my early clubbing years. Let me tell you, when I used to go clubbing, or when I first started clubbing, 18, when, I would go to DC, I was so excited to finally be clubbing. My favorite part of the night would be when they would start playing that reggae and that dancehall. Oh my goodness. I loved dancing reggae and dancehall music. It's just so fun to dance to. Anytime I'd hear that Sean Paul, that Beanie Man, those different artists, it was like, hey, fun times, fun times. And then the second thing is food. So one staple that I think is common throughout Dominican food is plátano. I know DR kind of holds the trophy, I guess, for being the country most associated with eating plátano. We got sayings like plátano power and things like that. But, we got mangú, we got tostones. Then you have, Puerto Ricans with their mofongo. You also have pastelón. And I think some other foods that are very common throughout all of the Caribbean is, rice, beans, cassave, sweet potatoes, coconut, and of course you can't forget all of the tropical fruits that are available all throughout the Caribbean. I know when I go to DR, I love having, jugo de chinola, which is passion fruit in English, mango. I mean, there's just so many good tropical fruits, and of course eating it just right off the motherland, it's like so good, just so good. And I think also, when you think of the Caribbean, you think of beaches, you think of those, that pure white sand, those crystal blue waters, and not just that, but that warm Caribbean sea water. I mean, whenever I go to the beaches in Dominican, I think what I love the most is the fact that the water is so warm. It's not freezing cold. I live in Virginia, and everybody here either goes to Virginia Beach or to Ocean City in Maryland, and that water be cold as shit. I'm like, you know what? Bump the beach. I'll wait until I can take my butt to DR, and I'll go to the beach once I'm over there. oh, the landscape of the Caribbean alone is just so beautiful. And, you know, so far I've only been to DR, but, you know, I love to visit the other side of the islands because, you know, I always hear that Haiti has many beautiful places, as much as it's always portrayed as like, you know, the way it's portrayed in the media. I'm sure Haiti has beautiful areas that I'd like to visit. I'd love to visit Jamaica. I'd love to go to Trinidad and Tobago, or, you know, the Bahamas, or I don't know, Barbados. Like I'd love to go and travel to these other Caribbean countries, and you just experience the culture there, you know, and see how much it differs or how similar it is to DR. But, you know, I feel like even though I haven't visited these other countries, I feel like, you know, the lifestyle is probably very similar in a lot of these countries. So, you know, a lot of them, they're still considered third world countries. So of course, you know, a lot of, you know, our home countries or our parents' home countries, you know, they're still, the majority of the population are still, you know, living in, you know, poor conditions. But one thing that I can say is that even though they do not have a lot of material possessions, people, they're just happy. They are happy. You know, they work hard, but at the same time, I feel like life is just more chill. You know, life isn't as fast paced as it is here in the US, you know, and it doesn't take a lot for, you know, you to enjoy yourself. You know, you can have streets and like block parties in the middle of the street, you know. So you can, like, in DR, for example, you'll see a truck, una jipeta, you know, with a huge stereo in the back of the trunk, you know, with these loudspeakers. And right there, Samuna Fiesta, you have people just on the street, just chilling, you know, jamming to the music. Or you take a trip to the beach. Like, there's always some way to have fun, you know. And I think that's very, I don't know, it's definitely a big characteristic of Caribbean culture, just that, I don't know, just having fun, just living life. Like, even if you don't have a lot, if you don't have a lot of money, people find a way to be happy. And one thing that I feel is very, you know, cool about Caribbean culture specifically is it's like a mixture of all these different, you know, cultures. So, you know, you have indigenous with European, with Indian, with East Asian, and specifically African influences all mixed together. And that has, you know, basically formed all this different type of, you know, music, all these different type of dances, you know, the cuisine from all the different Caribbean countries. It's like a reflection of all these things mixed together. But I think what is so interesting is how much you can see that African influence, especially. I feel like a lot of, you know, our traditional music, or, you know, certain genres of music that are specifically like African based, it's you can still hear like that traditional like African sound. Like, for example, in DR, you know, we have palo. Puerto Rico has bomba, and you know, the Garifuna people in like Honduras and some of those countries, they have punta. And then you have like the Afro-Cuban dances that are dedicated to the orishas, you know, that are have to do with, you know, Santeria and stuff like that. And I mean, listening to these genres of music, you think that you're listening to music from Africa, you know. So I've always found that very, very interesting. And, you know, something that I really appreciate is, you know, my parents, they were born in the campo in DR, okay? I mean, like, if you don't know what campo is, basically like the countryside, the very rural area of DR. It's like literally you have to go up and into the mountain to get to the little campo where they grew up. And so, you know, growing up, I'd always visit the campo. And a lot of times, you know, I'd stay there overnight. And, you know, interestingly enough, sometimes I preferred being there than being in la capital, than being in the city. And I don't know, it's just, even though they didn't have running water, they didn't have paved roads until about the last 10 years. It was all dirt roads. And actually, a lot of it is still dirt roads. You know, we had to take baths or showers with buckets and, you know, use the bathroom in a freaking outhouse. Like, they still have outhouses and stuff. But you know what? I think because of that experience, and I think a lot of Caribbean people can relate to this, when you go back to your home countries, you know, it just really gave me an appreciation for just life in general. You know, you see these people that have so little, and compared to, you know, US standards of living, I mean, I would never consider living like that here in the United States, but you know, just getting to experience that and kind of living in that for, even if it was just for a short period of time, and just seeing how these people, they don't look miserable. I mean, of course they're adapted to that lifestyle, but I don't know, they're happy. Son gente alegre, you know. They enjoy life they enjoy and appreciate the little things, you know, especially being with family. You know, I think there's a lot of family values that are shared amongst the Caribbean. You know, at the end of the day, even though we don't all speak the same languages, you know, some of us speak Spanish, some like some type of Creole, or, you know, English, French. I think it's interesting that we all kind of, in a way, bounce things off of each other. Like reggaeton, for example, that started with reggae. And it started with a lot of Jamaicans that went to Panama. And so then the people in Panama, or the descendants of these Jamaicans in Panama, they were like the OGs, first people to do like reggae in Spanish, which would eventually become reggaeton. And then from there, you know, the Puerto Ricans took over and they made it huge and really brought it to, like, you know, the limelight, you know. And then from there, Dominicans kind of tried with reggaeton. They didn't do as well, but now Dominicans have created, you know, their version of dembow. So it's like we've all kind of bounced these things off of each other, and at the end of the day, it's created these genres that we can all enjoy, you know. So I've always found that very interesting, how even though these types of music are distinct, they all have the same roots, you know. One thing that I really appreciate about Caribbean culture and about the Caribbean man and the Caribbean woman is just how hardworking they are, you know. And even though we all come from countries, or our parents come from countries that don't have the happiest history, you know, we all experience colonization, we all experience slavery. But, you know, through it all, our ancestors were able to come out victorious. You know, they were resilient. They were able to find joy, even though they had nothing, or they started with nothing. They were able to, you know, all create their own cultures and express their joy for life through music, through song, through dance, through things like carnaval. I mean, there's just so many things, you know, that I feel Caribbean people hold dear, so many values that we hold dear, you know, especially, you know, family, like community values. I mean, there's just so many things that we share, you know, that although we outwardly, we may all seem very differently, at the end of the day, like at the core of it all, we are more similar, you know, than we are different. And those are things that I really appreciate, regardless of which country or which area in the Caribbean, you know, you are from. In conclusion, I just want to give a big shout out to all my Caribbean peoples, regardless of which country you are from. Much love to you guys from this Dominicana. And I just want to say, let us continue to enjoy each other's cultures. You know, if you're from a Spanish-speaking Caribbean country, let's try to learn more of the dances and like music from some of these other Caribbean countries, and you know, vice versa. Again, there's just so much rich culture just based in the Caribbean alone. I mean, so many different types of foods. I mean, I would definitely like to try out some more, you know, Caribbean foods from other countries, you know. So again, there's just so much that we can share. So if you guys have any other things about Caribbean culture that you want to add, comment them down below. Let me know where you guys are from, whether you're still living in the Caribbean or here in the US. Let me know what your culture is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos from me, whether they're makeup videos, let's chat stuff videos. I try to do a little bit of everything. I throw some vlog videos in there every now and then. So, all right, guys, los quiero mucho, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.